What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with one more video. Alright guys, let's get active. Alright? Now before we get started, guys, please stop sending me a link to this video. You guys apparently want me to react to this video. Alright? I watched about 25% of the video, and I can see from the original 25% why you want my thoughts on this, why you want my commentary on it. So we'll get active. We'll get in there. Now, this comes from the podcast called Deadass from Kadeen and DeVal. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Now, I know of them, unlike most of the people that I react to on this channel, specifically because I actually reacted to them, I want to say like 9 to 10 months ago or so. Now, listen, of the 25% that I saw so far, there's a lot of things that I wanted to highlight to you. I think what's interesting is that when you have these conversations with it didn't even have to be married, it could be single, married, what have you, just people in a relationship, is the body language as each other is speaking, and then also how people interpret the words that are coming out of someone else's mouth through their own perceptions. It's super interesting. Without further ado,
I am not allowed, based on our marriage laws and the contract we've signed with each other,
right,
to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss as a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you,
good question.
Why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody? Like,
well, we know that you pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Let's pause right there. Let's pause right there. Here's the first thing. Now, he asked a very clear question. What was his question? All right. If a woman knows that she's not going to want to be as sexually active with her soon-to-be husband throughout the entirety of their life, why would she want him to be monogamous? Now, let me also touch on this real quick. This whole sex drive thing, I think he's speaking about it from his own position. His own position is that he has a wife that's apparently not as sexually driven as what he is, right? So he's asking that question to her, and then she interprets it as, I forced you to get married? That wasn't the question at all, right? Let's move on. Whew.
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it. I can want something, asking, but not.
You right now.
This is gaslighting 101. Okay. What's happening here is he's asking, did you not tell me that this is what you required to get married to me, to be monogamous? And instead of answering yes or no, or up or down, or left or right, like a clear, it's well, what if I had $1 million? Like, it don't mean that I'm gonna be able to, right? So like, it's not a clear answer to something that he's asking in a very easy way, right? So I think it's just super interesting to see how this dynamic unfolds in the way that it does. But let's keep going.
Now you dodging the question.
Nobody pressed you to do it. Yes, is that something I wanted? Yes, it was. But
you didn't press me. Are you gonna lie now to the people because we talking about sex? You're gonna lie now to the people?
DeVal, knowing
Kadeen, you didn't want monogamy?
Of course I did.
So then why are you avoiding the question?
That's not avoiding the question. I'm saying, does that mean because I want it and I requested that you were gonna deliver it? Like, no.
Oh God. If she was a transformer, her name would be Deflecticon. Okay, name would be Deflector. You understand what I'm saying? The deflection in here is super strong. But at the end of the day, I think that maybe she is trying to interpret what it is that he's saying, but maybe she got emotional with the way that he's saying it, and she felt attacked and got defensive. And then now you're seeing an illogical response to what appears to be a very simple, easy question that he's asking. That is what I think is going on, but just be mindful of when people use false equivalencies, when they use inaccurate analogies to compare two things together, because what they could be doing, either they know about it or it's unconscious, right, that they're doing it. But what they're doing is that they're chopping up your logic in order to conform to the way that they think through what it is that you're saying. Let's keep going.
Nobody pressed you for that.
Talking about, you just said you wanted it and requested it. Do you not hear yourself?
I can make a request. Is the request going to be granted?
But it's a request, but it's also an ultimatum at the same time, right? It's an ultimatum at the same time. One of which that says, unless you are monogamous with me, you can no longer have me. Now, I do get a component of her argument, which is, well, at that junction, you have a decision to make. So I think that like what was set up was an ultimatum, but still at the end of the day, the man has to take accountability for choosing to go down that path. My thing is that like, my G, if you knew what her drive was prior to getting married, perhaps that is not something that you should have gotten married to. That situation is not something you should have gotten married to, knowing kind of that you were going to have to spend the rest of your life in a monogamous situation where your needs, your sexual needs were not being met as well. So there is some accountability on his side as well. But let's keep going. We're still early.
Am I not granting you monogamy?
You are granting it to me.
So this is my question.
Look at your boy. Look at your boy.
This is my question. If you wanted monogamy,
okay,
why would you want monogamy if sex is a chore for you? That's the question. You're avoiding the question.
I'm not avoiding the question, but at first you said women or in general me specifically are pushing monogamy on somebody. Okay, yes, that's something that I wanted, but I didn't press you for it and be like, DeVal, I'm gonna hold a gun to your head to propose to me.
Time out.
Also, let me finish. Also, I don't feel like I was adequately prepared for marriage. And I've said that before, because if I knew that marriage and monogamy was going to involve me trying to meet you where you were at sexually for years to come, then I probably would have reevaluated it if I wanted to be monogamous anyway.
So that's fair.
I feel like this one, what she's talking about now, I need more information. So did he pressure her into marriage? Because that's the sense that I'm getting right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she's saying that, I wasn't ready for that, to consider a major component of heterosexual human relationship, right, into perpetuity for the rest of one's life. If she's saying that she didn't consider that, which to me is something that you have to consider. I mean, that's a top 5 thing to consider when you're thinking about eloping with someone for the rest of your life. That should be something that you should be considering, okay? What is going on with the thing on the top of his head, by the way? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But let's move on.
But we're not even talking about marriage. Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
2 people are dating. Typically in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman.
Thank you. That was my whole point. See, you were going all over the place. If women typically ask for exclusivity first, then when they get exclusivity, say, he always on me, he always want to have sex. Why are we asking men for exclusivity if we do not want to participate in sex at the same level as men? We have to think about what that does to a man. And I don't think that conversation is being had.
Okay, I agree. And that part I agree with. Yes, that women are typically the ones that will ask for the exclusivity. I get that, yes. But what I'm saying is, me as a woman, I don't think that I was necessarily prepared or in the mindset to know that. It's almost like once you get into it, then you're like, oh, shoot, like this is what I'm going to have to keep up with.
I get that.
Us speaking as 36-year-old people know that now. Had I known that at 26,
I get that.
I would have to contend with that. Even in the dating realm, then it might have been something I would have reevaluated.
So now let's go back to what you asked me. You said to me, you never pressured me to get married. In 2007, we were living together, right? You said you no longer wanted to live with me and shack up with me because you wanted to be my wife, not my girlfriend.
Right, because I wanted to know where
that
the relationship
don't sound
was
like
going.
pressure to you?
It sounds like me voicing where I see my life going. It sounds like me saying I'm going to have to keep up with.
I get that.
Us speaking as 36-year-old people know that now. Had I known that at 26,
I get that.
I would have to contend with that.
I get
Even
that.
in the dating realm,
I
then
get
it
that.
might have been something I would have reevaluated.
So now,
This is super interesting. And what this means to me is that, again, you have, and I think that it's key to understand whether or not it is him that pressured her into marriage or her that pressured him into marriage. And we're not quite getting that yet. But I think that what she's saying is that potentially that this is something that she signed up for, but didn't think about down the line what that component of the relationship was going to look like. So, but if she had, maybe it's something that she would reconsider at the beginning, which is why I think like content like this all over the internet is so important, because it's like before you sign your name on a dotted line, whether it be a marriage contract or a business contract, what you have to understand is what could happen? And there could be things outside of your purview unless you come across content like this or a YouTube channel commenting on content like this to force you to critically think about every stretch of the scenario of how it can unfold for you in your particular situation. All right, but let's move on.
now let's go back to what you asked me. You said to me you never pressured me to get married. In 2007, we were living together, right? You said you no longer wanted to live with me and shack up with me because you wanted to be my wife, not my girlfriend.
Right, because I wanted to know where
That
the
don't
relationship
sound
was
like
going.
pressure to you?
It sounds like me voicing where I see my life going.
We got the answer. that is an ultimatum if I'd have ever heard one. They were living together. All right. She said, listen, your girlfriend want to be your wife. That sounds like pressure. All right. Listen, but at the time that you move in, you know what's coming next. All right. My man, if you knew what the drive was, you got to take some accountability for that at the end of the day. If you knew what it was. Now, if she switched later, you guys had a conversation about it, and at 26, it was cool, but then later on it switched. My thing is, why can't you reevaluate the situation, right? If it's that much of a problem, why can't you just reevaluate? But this to me is a lot more of the check boxes in life without critically thinking about what would actually make you happy, and you're just following the yellow brick road of life and coming out at the end of it and coming to these epiphanies regarding how you should have thought about the situation earlier in your life. But let's move on. Let's see what she says to this.
It sounds like me saying this is what I would like.
Nope.
You can decide to meet me there. If not, we can reevaluate what exactly we're doing.
Okay. Additionally,
Would I call it pressure per se?
Yes.
Not necessarily pressure.
Super pressure.
It is pressure. But you don't want to say it's pressure. What about being
You
engaged?
might have felt pressure.
What about
There was
being
no pressure
engaged?
behind it.
I said, we don't got to rush to get married. You said, I don't want to be engaged longer than a year. Is that not pressure?
That's super pressure.
That's me voicing my opinion about it.
Sounds like pressure to me. So you say you want to be engaged. I get engaged.
Yo, by the way, shout out to my man. I think he's DeVal. Shout out to DeVal. Actually, listen to him talk right now and listening to the commentary, or at least remembering the commentary that I did on his video not a couple of months ago. He seems to be a super rational dude. He seems to be logic driven. He seems very smart. And oftentimes, when I reacted to the thing a couple of months ago, and snippets of videos that I've seen, he seems super rational. A lot of times she doesn't seem as rational, right? I'm not saying that she's irrational, but I'm saying that when it may be because I'm biased because I identify more with when dudes talk about things, but when I hear him speak, it makes a lot more sense to me. You understand what I'm saying? But he can have these conversations, which apparently is probably a key point about their relationship in a way that doesn't show any emotion, doesn't show any anger, but he's just attacking it in the way that it needs to be attacked. So at least she can hear to a degree.
You say you want to be married within a year. We do that. We get married, then you make it seem like sex is a chore to your husband. Once again, I ask the question, why do women who push forth monogamy on the man they're dating then get overwhelmed when that man who tries to provide that monogamy to you? Why do you get upset when we're trying to be what you want us to be? You don't want me to be with no one else, right? Right? I'm asking. This is a serious question.
Yes, absolutely.
You don't want me to be with no one else.
Absolutely.
So if I decide that all this testosterone I have, I want to give to you, why is this so overwhelming now? This is what you asked for.
Again, 26 and 27-year-old Kadeen was like, okay, here's the natural succession of life. You graduate, you're working, you meet somebody, you guys are dating. You want children.
Yes.
I want children.
Yes.
We don't want to wait too long or too late to have children.
Yes.
Though now a lot of people are waiting until their 30s to have children.
And I understand why.
And we at that time felt like, well, we're doing everything in this natural succession that the forces that be have given us this timeline. However, I did not realize that after having children, after, career changes, all of the turbulences that we've been through in life, that was going to have a direct effect on my sex drive.
All right. Let me pause it. You know what? And that's so. And here's the thing. Like at the end of the day, so this is what we talk about all day on the channel, which is why I see why so many of you guys wanted me to react to this particular content. This is what we talk about, right? Being able to think through and strategize in the steps of your life. So listen, you're looking at a married couple talk about these very non-trivial things. These are very important things. Especially for men, right? To go from a 26-year-old virile man to a 36-year-old still virile man, right? But to be, in a locked relationship with somebody who that need is not met at the way that you need it to be met, that's just what you have to deal with. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe that they have a couple of kids, 2 or 3 kids as well. So it's just something that you have to deal with. And if you want to break off from that, then you have to face the financial consequences. I mean, and that's just the thing. Now, I'm not saying based off this information that don't do it. I want all of y'all to make all of y'all decisions in the best way that y'all know how. But it's like, what are the choices? What are the things that you have to think about to make sure that you make the most informed decision on you? Because there's one part of the coin that can be like, yo, well, what if he wasn't with her and he was 36 still macking the 22-year-olds, which I'm sure that he could. I'm sure that he could do. And that need would be met. But would the need of a family be met? Maybe not at the same degree and level. Would the needs of his businesses be met? Because they have a family business. Maybe at the same level. So there's all of these trade-offs that you have to think about when you think about how can you be the most happiest version of you and how your life will progress. For me, though, that is something I'm going to have to verify off of Jump Street for a long-term relationship. You understand what I'm saying? That has been my video. That has been my reaction. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Guys, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I have a Patreon as well. Link down in the description box down below. Feel free to go up there to see what we are building. The community is growing strong. Go up there and check me out. Until next time, YouTube. Peace!